Welcome to INN CEO Talks. Today I'm joined by Peter Schloo, the CEO and Director of Heritage Mining, a private company that is soon to be listed. It's a perfect time to be watching this company as it prepares to start trading. Peter, welcome.
Thanks so much, Stuart. Happy to be here.
What a time to be looking at your company. You know, for all of us, Heritage Mining is new. Tell us about the company. How did it come together? And what's your mandate?
Yeah, great question. It all came together when I sat down with the chairman, Patrick Moen, and said, I think we can build a team that has done this before, that has a significant amount of experience. So from inception, it came down to it's always been built from people first. And we brought in Patrick Moen, Jim Fairburn, ex-directors from Trelawney, Sale to IAM Gold. We have an ex-CEO and director of DRA Global, a global mining and consulting firm. They build mines, so it's great to have him there. And then we have Patrick Sullivan, associate at Osler, and huge amount of transactional experience. His last notable transaction was the Great Bear. He represented Kinross. So to have that, that's a very popular deal here in Ontario as of recent. And then we have myself. So I'm a chartered accountant, chartered financial analyst by background, more of kind of the big company experience to start off with. And then I jumped into the merchant banking, scrappy junior mining industry and helped take two companies public, Step Gold, and more of a senior executive role in Ion Energy, both publicly traded, one on the main board and one on the venture.
So with a team like that, what does it say when you start to look at projects? Like, well, one of your key projects is the Drayton-Black Lake project. So there's been about 176 holes that have gone into the ground in the past, but what does your team bring to looking at that property saying, here's what we know, here's what we're able to interpret, and here's what it means?
Right. So the transaction that came out of Group 10, who we optioned it off of, they really, when the team looked at it, from inception, there was a significant amount of data that was overlooked. No one's looked at all of the data. No one's digitized it. So that was a fantastic value add for us that we knew that we could jump in. Mitch Lavery, has brought into production or had experience with the Juby Gold Mine, Bell Creek, so similar geology. That's who I went up and did due diligence with. And then we have Stephen Hughes, who's notable experience. He was the head of above and underground exploration at the Grasberg mine in Indonesia. So two very powerful geologists. Happy to have them on our team. Once we started chewing through all the information, there's over 100 years. No one's looked at it the way that we have from a low grade, high tonnage perspective. And we're just continuing on the story of Treasury Metals, who's proven out the low grade, high tonnage. And there's 100 years worth of data confirming high grade, narrow intercepts throughout the entire property. No one's tested in between. No one's proven the disseminated gold theory. And, we're here to, extend the Treasury Metal deposit along trend.
So with a story like that, you go to IPO. What was the response?
So the response has been great. PDAC was I think that was the best PDAC I've ever attended. My schedule was packed with meetings. There's been nothing but good interest. And I think one of the most important points of the IPO process, separate from the wonderful, district scale project that we have in Northwestern Ontario, is the pricing. We did a quick raise in December, and we're coming out with similar pricing now for the IPO. When we sat around and made that decision, had nothing to do with the recent market turbulence. We made that decision in January. It's very hard, in my opinion, as a retail investor to participate in private placements unless you're a close family friend, close business associate, accredited investor, etc. So what we wanted to do is allow the capital that's going to create value. They should come in at the same price, and that's fair. So that's why we're having the same pricing as well. And our capital structure, when you compare ourselves to other exploration companies in Ontario, we have one of the best capital structures even after our IPO is finished, and we have a great cash position. So from a capital structure perspective and from a project perspective, we're in the top quartile of our comparables in
So,
Ontario.
okay, so for investors right now, they're listening to this going, okay, you got a great team, you got at least one project that looks incredible, and I know that you've got a couple others underway. What should I be paying attention to as an investor right now when I'm looking at your company?
What I would be paying attention to, and it's a great question, is what any investor should be paying attention to is kind of management's execution. So we're waving the flag of systematic exploration, right? And how do you evaluate that? Well, what you'll see from us is once we stepped on foot on the property, we found that there was a huge power line being installed throughout through a portion of the property. And when you think about it from a systematic exploration perspective, you look in the data room, there's no geophysical, airborne EM and mag or geophysical analysis that's done for the whole property. So once we signed the definitive agreement with Group 10, we immediately engaged with a firm to fly the entire property. We don't have the report now, but we expect shortly after the IPO that we'll have the data, and then you can look forward to a news release. So that's kind of your first step one in terms of a systematic exploration to get the data set that you need to evaluate it from a systematic process. We also will be starting our prospecting crew in the summer. So they're starting July 15th, as far as I'm concerned at this point. And we're moving forward, and we're doing exactly what we said we do. We're doing it on time. So that's what I would look forward to in the near future.
So as you move forward, what do you envision will be your status in the next 6 to 12 months?
So in the next 6 to 12 months, what all the investors can anticipate is some, as I said before, geophysical analysis coming out. There will be some research coverage coming out within a month or so after we complete our IPO. Then what's going to happen is we've already started and locked in our A-team prospectors for the first 2 months. That'll end in September 15th. That'll be wrapped up. You can look forward to a honed-in targeting program. We could technically come up with some targets now, but what we want to do is come out with strong targets, get a prospecting crew in there, figure out exactly where we want to go, dust off some shiny rocks and make sure that everything's working. And then what everybody can look forward to is the drill turning in late November, and that'll take us to 6 months. And we're going to evaluate. There's 4 areas that we think are of significance. We've prioritized 2 of them, so you can see an advancement in the Moretti and the Split Lake area. And the drills will be turning from 6 to 12 months, and we'll reevaluate where we're at that point. That's on the Drayton-Black Lake. Contact Bay, which is another project that will be wholly owned once we're public. We've flown that as well, and you can look forward to an updated report within a few months after we're public as well for a path on that property and our approach there. But that's a greenfield exploration project, and just for all the viewers, this is that we're not allocating any IPO proceeds to that at this time.
So what's the long-term strategy for each of these properties? Are you wanting to confirm the resource and then look to partner, or because you have such a strong team, are you leaving all options open, which could also lead through to mine development?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I would say maybe a trick one. But what we did from the start is it's people first. And what I wanted to build with Heritage Mining and the vision kind of tone from the top is to bring in parties that can take it from exploration all the way through to production. It's very important. So do we have the team that can take it all the way? We do, and they've done it before. It's in their track record. Now, are we obviously leaving all options on the table and everything's open? Of course we are. If we were to come in and me as a CEO is going to say from this exploration project we're going to take it all the way to production, I think we'd be quite ahead of ourselves. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's a significant amount of a lot of questions that need answers, and that's what we're here to do. But we have the team that can take it all the way. Well, are we open to all other options? Of course we are.
You have a lot of experience in the sector. What is it about this project that makes you, be so energetic and enthusiastic about it? Because you've got a trained eye. What is it about this Drayton project?
I think in my personal opinion, just because I've been, I do have, I'm more of a finance by background. That's where my experience is. But I've also been a field technician for Mitch Lavery. So when we go up to site, I jump down. I almost report to him from a field technician perspective. But Mitch has, he's been involved in the Juby Gold Mine, in Bell Creek, similar geology. I think the most exciting part was when we're in the Moretti area and also the Split Lake area, and he had to sit down to look at a few rocks and say, you know what, Peter, this in of itself, just this area, you got to get the deal. Once you get that, you take that back from a due diligence perspective, and then you bake that in, and then you get me working until 3 in the morning, sending them all the reports that I found online, because everything's available online. MLAS, everybody can look it up. You combo that with that experience, and then you have something powerful. And then it seems like the more information that we get on the project, the more interested the team is. So when I'm on these technical calls and we're evaluating the property, everybody gets more and more excited, and that keeps me excited. I feed off that. So everybody's very excited to get going on the exploration program, and I guess that hopefully that answers the question.
Well, it certainly does, because it speaks to why you're so enthusiastic about it, and that you have a trained eye. And so I know that investors will be wanting to come back and get updates on where you're at, and will want to watch what's happening with heritage mining. It looks like a very exciting opportunity.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for your time today.